I know.
John is very good at getting specific.
No, you know that if Saber and I were roommates, you know that I'm.
Oh yeah,
I've heard it.
You've had the Wicca. You've had the Wicca 101 spiel before.
Oh, I've been way beyond. It's what we call stiff Wiccans.
So I'm curious, like, what are you guys going to do for the show? It's going to be a half-hour, hour show.
It's going to be an hour show.
Okay.
It's going to cover various aspects of neo-pagan. I just use the word pagan for now.
Oolong. Oolong #1 from Wu Yi Mountain. There's just a little left, so let you have what's left of that. Pour it all in his cup.
And it's still warm.
Okay.
Various aspects of pagan life, culture, and religion. For instance, the first episode we're filming is going to be on the Pentacle.
Mm-hmm.
Little 5-point star in the middle of the circle. And the second episode, which we're actually filming later that night, we're going to do 2 episodes in one night, is going to be an sort of a table Ask the Witch discussion group.
Okay. So you guys aren't going to do stuff in the studio, you're going to check out field gear?
No, actually, we are going to do the studio. We're going to try to do the studio shows because it's so much easier to control and manipulate everything when you're doing it in the studio.
We have already learned that, yes. We have already learned that.
I can't imagine trying to do Mountain Dungeon as a remote thing. That would be interesting. That would be very, very interesting.
Although, there are probably going to be variations on that at some point. I'm going to take a moment of shameless self-promotion and just say that I started doing Hour of Live TV last week. However, for the next 3 weeks, even though I just started, I will not be doing it because our mad scientist here, John Blackwell, is going to be teaching an audio for video course. My live hour is 5 to 6. His course is 4 to 6 on Saturdays, which of course means that we actually need to be wrapped up for the next 3 weeks exactly at 4 o'clock.
And I don't want to do anything that hampers live shows, because my goal here is to further live.
The way I look at it is it's going to put me off for 3 weeks, but I was only just getting started anyway. And I'm in the process of trying to wrangle and round up guests, and this gives me a chance, instead of worrying about the next week to next week, I can take these 3 weeks to try and get people lined up possibly for a couple months ahead of time. And the knowledge that I will gain from this will only in the long run prove to serve better. And Raven's really fascinated about this microphone in some capacity.
It's almost like having a young chimpanzee at the table.
You know what? That actually went through my head too. I wasn't going to say it, but that's what you're here for.
Yeah, you see that? Yeah. Anyway, I'll say anything. That's the point of it, as a matter of fact.
Can we take the grill off and look at the capsule? Or you have to take it out?
Hang on, flip the power off, if you would. Powering down.
Bye-bye, everybody.
You don't get to talk.
Switch on the back side, down. Okay.
Got it.
All right, now let's give it a little while. Keep talking in your mic. Is it working?
No.
Okay, that would be that's because the power would be gone. Okay. Okay. We're probably going to get a bit of a pop. Let's see. Wait a minute. What could I?
Might have to turn off the Phantom.
No, it's not on Phantom. It has its own power supply. Phantom power supplies won't give enough electricity to.
Make an announcement to please tell our producers to start bringing things in on the right times.
All right, would you like to? All right, Jen Mass said
You're all worthless and weak.
Jen Mass said for us to make an announcement to tell our producers to please start bringing their stuff in on the right times.
Yeah, she actually did that.
Also,
and she's laughing down the hallway right now.
It's hard to do when you're sitting down.
Quit beating on the wall.
We're trying to do a show in here.
We're trying to do live TV here.
You didn't do that with the conservative.
You wanted this off, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay, I don't have the right.
Can I show this to the camera?
I watched some of it.
I don't have the right.
Okay. How was it? Interesting.
Screwdriver with me. I've left it in Kevlar's
I think
garage.
I've become a bit of a stickler on headroom. There wasn't enough headroom.
Oh. Headroom
for when they were shooting the conservative show before you guys. They were switching back and forth.
Headroom is very important in live TV.
I think there was someone who's actually manning the camera, and he cut it kind of close to the top of the head with the shots.
What show?
The conservative show that we are.
Oh, okay, all right.
See,
Well, that
Ben
okay.
was having a little bit. He was having headroom issues in the opposite direction when we were doing the live show last week, and that he's like, we've got a lot of headroom. We've got a lot of headroom. But I realized that last Saturday was Ben, because anytime we've done this, he's always been working.
Gosh, it's so hard
He'd
to
never
do this.
witnessed this miracle in motion before until last Saturday.
Turn this upside down.
So.
Yes. And that would be a glass tube. So if you were selling this mic, it would say GL.
And in the silver can
Yeah.
is the transformer.
Would it be possible to have one of those
Oh, I
opera
see.
singers, like, who do the trick of breaking glass, like you break?
And
the
I'm
microphone?
sorry that I can't pull the top off, but I don't have that size screwdriver with me. I was helping Kevlar build prototypes and left my screwdrivers that I carry in my pocket in his garage, and I've not retrieved them yet, and I need to do that very badly. So
I mean,
what?
zoom in.
Oh no! What is that? We need to make it so that you will be in the shot as well.
Well, actually, Raven, while you're there, will you
Yeah.
zoom in on that picture there for just a second? Two dudes. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, you are looking at a picture from the Mountain Express of Dig Shovel Dig from a still from the TV show Mount Dungeon, where the Mountain Express erroneously labels Mount Dungeon as Dig Shovel Dig's show, which it is not. Now, Dig Shovel Dig are friends of Mount Dungeon, and
So
in
did
fact,
Mount
half
Dungeon
of them-
appear on the Dig Shovel Dig show or not? Can you flip that switch on?
Well, it was a side project at Mount Dungeon called Rudy and the Rooters, but yes,
Okay.
but I'm bummed.
But Mount Dungeon did appear on the Dig Shovel Dig show.
Yes.
Good.
As a matter of fact, yes.
Good, because you need some press,
One half.
Did they mention that in there or not?
What, Mount Dungeon?
Mhm.
Well, it says Mount Dungeon, which is labeled as Dig Shovel Dig's URTV show, which it is not. Half of Dig Shovel Dig is in fact related to this gentleman right here.
And to Ben, our fearless leader.
Yes, but I am going to write in a letter to the editor, like mildly correcting this whole thing, because shameless self-promotion and us getting credit for it aside, say that it's Dig Shovel Dig's show as much as they are friends of us kind of takes away from the fact that we have a different local Asheville band every single week.
And it's actually a bit of a smear against Dig Shovel Dig, since
See
we
if
are
it is. Speak.
much too linear
Hello.
to fit in with the Dig
Are
Shovel
you
Dig
on?
ethos.
It's on, yes, it sounds
Not
great.
nearly enough random noise goes on in our show to really match the standards and practices that Dig Shovel Dig enjoys.
Yank away at it.
On Dungeon, Thursdays, 11 p.m.
Yes.
on this station.
We have lots.
Okay,
So we can do
Dig
shameless
Shovel Dig, we'll play for
plugs.
we'll play for hot dogs.
Exactly.
I do it all the time.
That's
Good.
that's more or less the point of the show half the time.
I need money.
See, that was more of a
Now
shame-filled
that is-
plug, not a
that-
shameless plug. So.
Yes, I do too.
Is that Jen screaming?
I do. What I do is I say, folks, keep them cards and letters coming in, and folks, don't forget them checks, cause them's what keeps us on the air.
Oh, I see.
On that note,
See-
I'm sorry.
I've been saying keep those emails coming.
Yeah, no money over
There's
there.
the, no. It's PayPal.
PayPal.
Yes.
On the note of checks coming in, I'm actually starting a religious show for a late night as well.
See.
Just for the money?
Well,
Are you only in it for the money?
it's-
I could do the voice of God
It's a
with
Church of
this
the
microphone.
Subgenius show.
Okay.
Oh,
Are you
there's
a
no voice
member of the
God
Church
in
of the
that.
Subgenius?
I am a fully paid up and accredited member of the Church of the Subgenius, the Discordian Movement, the Universal Life Church, and the Moorish Orthodox Church.
Okay.
And some others I may have forgotten at one point.
Okay.
So how many religions are you a member of now?
Well, there's those.
I guess you just listed it off, but there's others.
Well, those are the
you
ones
forgot.
I'm clergy for.
I think I better check on my
I was once
editing.
accused when I was
All
in
right.
college of belonging
We're just about
Religion of
to.
the Month Club.
Really?
Don't,
So I took that
Okay,
part.
so quick question. So, being clergy, are you legally able to marry people?
I am legally able to marry people. That's no big deal.
But only one person at a time. More would be bigamy. Here.
Well, it's not that. It doesn't really matter if you're legally married or not. What matters is the license. And no clergy actually has the ability of issuing a license.
Right.
That's something the state does. But I can go you two are married all the live long day. It just doesn't mean anything, and it doesn't really mean anything when any other clergy does it.
Well, if you get the license, then that's that, and everything else is formality.
Yeah, you don't actually need a religious service to be married. You just need the license.
So you can go down there, get the license, say, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Honeymoon time, let's get busy.
Is that true? You can get a license and go out and marry yourself in the woods or
No.
something?
You have to go there to apply for the license.
And get the license.
Yes.
And once you get the license, you're married regardless of the ceremony part.
That's as I understand it, that is the actual magic of this holy sacrament of matrimony, is going and standing in line at a bureaucrat's teller stand. That's about it. Everything else is maybe necessary in your own personal opinion, but not legally necessary.
I want the mic for this.
Okay, this is rock tea number 1, rock tea from Wuyi Mountain, which is my personal favorite. I haven't tried this exact batch yet.
It's stronger than the other one. Actually, is there any sugar of any sort?
There's sugar,
Blue one, yes.
and there's sweetener, and there's cream in here.
Thank you.
All those
Okay.
things.
I have a lesson about
Actually,
the
it's
sanctity.
milk. Okay, it's not cream. I lied. It's milk.
I have a lesson about the sanctity of marriage. Both my parents are conservative, and they taught me a very powerful and important lesson about the sanctity of marriage. They split up when I was 3. This concludes Matt's lesson on the sanctity of marriage.
Okay.
My parents split up as well. They were rather young. I actually think that was to help with finances. My father was the political campaign manager for a gubernatorial race in Alabama. And it's not a real political race in Alabama unless someone gets indicted. And, well, our side lost, so...
So your side got indicted?
Yeah, well, not indicted, but there was some investigation. Evidently, you can't tell people to not vote their party, which is what our candidate did. It's a silly rule, but
He told people.
he had a TV spot saying Republicans basically vote for the Democrat, me. And evidently that was against the rules at that time when he did it, the way he did it.
That is silly.
That is very silly. It's politics.
Well, I mean, shouldn't any politician be able to say vote for me in any capacity they want?
Like I said, I mean,
As long as they aren't handing out $20 bills, which they way, we all know.
it was several arcane
Better
elections.
with the $20 bills. Yeah. Okay.
That's a very actually that was pretty much the dying of the Democratic Party in Alabama, was that gubernatorial race, because the two Democratic frontrunners, Charles Graddick, who my father was working for, and Bill Baxley, had this knockdown, drag-out fight with recounts and everything, and really they two exhausted each other so much that the Republican, whose name I think was Hunt, basically swept in and beat both of them. Normally that didn't happen. Democrats ruled that state for a long time. But I think that's what kind of sounded the death knell for the Democratic Party, at least until recently in Alabama.
Well, yes. Democrats politically have been slowly, steadily shooting themselves in the feet for years. The only strength the Democrats have at the moment is that the Republicans have currently emptied the clip of the machine gun into their legs.
Precisely. I was going to say the only thing that the Democrats have going for them currently is the Republicans.
Party.
Well, yeah, I mean, pretty much. Yes, pretty much.
So how about that Ron Paul?
Who's that? I don't have a clue. This is somebody running for something.
This is one of the Republican candidates for the president, yes.
What state?
Texas. He's from Texas.
Okay. Is he in favor of legalizing marijuana?
He ran for the Libertarian ticket a decade or two ago, and now he's running for the Republican ticket.
And how much has he changed his beliefs?
Now Paul is the man.
Exactly.
Is he in favor of the legalization of marijuana?
Yes.
Okay. Then he's in the running.
He's the only consistent and strong anti-war voice in the Republican Party primary. Very anti-war. More anti-war than virtually all of the Democratic candidates. Consistently voted against the war.
But here's the problem with that. Is he has to pass the Republican. He's no doubt the best person in the Republican Party for for the job. However, he's gotten not a chance in the Republican
Is he
primary.
the guy they're calling the professor? Or is that somebody else?
Well, he may be. I mean, his nickname in Congress is Dr. No.
Dr. No.
Because he always...
No.
Really, he always votes no on virtually any bill put in front of him.
Yeah, so do I. No.
Ain't paying that one. But the thing is, he's been making some good points, and he's been saying some good things, but he's being ignored by all the major press out there.
Of course he is. Of course he is.
The thing is, they ran a poll.
So am I. Go ahead.
They ran a poll after the South Carolina debate. He was winning when they announced the results of the poll, which really embarrassed them. So he kept on running the poll. Eventually, came in like second behind Mitt Romney, but he has a lot of support that is just not getting reported on by a lot of the major people.
And what did you say his name was?
Ron Paul.
Ron Paul.
Google it, people.
Okay. All right.
Who's a favorite of our Jen? Our
I can
station?
hear Jen. Jen, come in here and say Ron Paul. Come on.
Okay.
No, I'm not. Wait, hold on. What? I can't.
All right. She has issues.
Okay. Apparently,
FCC
who knows what the issues are?
Where did Raven go?
I have no idea.
Was he insulted because we didn't give him some tea? Raven, are you out there? Whoever's out there, I'm about to take a vote here. I can't
because
Right.
I'm a staff member.
Right.
You can vote.
But secretly?
Have you got?
This is
There
very
is
secret.
Have you got
sources
Jonathan
that
out
your
there?
TV
Is Jonathan
wildfire.
out there? Oh no, he's teaching field gear.
Which is
That's
a
good.
very, very, very noble thing.
I'm
in and of
glad he's
itself.
doing that. Somebody needs to know something about some field gear. That's
Yeah.
good. But if we could get some more people in here, I'll put forth a vote that we tried that before.
I suppose
maybe
if
I
I
won't-
had to vote for a Republican, I'd vote for Ron Paul. Except currently, I have inflicted upon myself a generational ban on voting Republican.
Which I understand and largely agree with. I don't
Yeah.
vote myself at all.
And all your interest in politics, and you don't even vote.
No.
I
Well,
have voted in every major election since I've been 18.
I'm an anarchist. It's kind of hypocritical.
Are you an anarchist?
I'm
You see that? You see my
I
little
do
anarchy?
see- I
I'm
do
an
see.
anarchist too. How about that? You're an anarchist and a earth
religionist, I believe is the
See,
word.
I am of the opinion that
That makes us a lot alike, doesn't it?
anarchy can only really work with a massive depopulation. If there are large groups of people, then some sort of
a
order
little
is
piece of light.
naturally going to settle in at some point. Personally, I think anarchy is going to degenerate and devolve into strongman government. If everything falls apart, somebody who gets the most friends with the most weapons, who promises to keep enough of a critical mass of people safe, is suddenly going to default, become the new power. That's honestly how I think it's going
That's
to
kind of how it works now.
Yeah, and which is why I
Oh,
don't think...
okay. The magic number for the week. All right, we have a magic number. The magic number is 120 billion.
Okay.
It's a big number.
120 billion. Fathom this. 120 billion.
120 billion. What
As
is
much
that
as I would need to
figure?
pay off my college loans. Okay.
Do you know what that number represents?
No, I don't.
I believe that number represents. You may recall that the Congress first passed funding for the war, and with a timetable to bring the soldiers home, and the president vetoed it.
Right.
And so they got together and had a little powwow, and they passed another one. And I heard it reported on the news that it, and I heard them talk about it too. We're not just giving him a blank check. Okay, no. As a matter of fact, they gave him a check that was written out to $120 billion. So $120 billion is not a blank check, but there's just no strings attached.
See, this is where I always find interesting. People always say anarchy doesn't work.
Right. A lot of things don't
all
work.
that great either.
Yeah.
It gives wackos $120 billion.
Yeah. Right.
The problem with democracy as it is now is that there's a critical mass of people who have absolutely no interest in it whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally, I think it's really sad. I mean, the fact that so many people have the opportunity to participate and just choose not to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it comes back to the scaling issue that you had with anarchy.
Mm-hmm.
There are some times when a country simply gets too big for a democracy, even no matter how much representation you put in there, for democracy to function effectively and non-coercively. And I think we reached and exceeded that scale here long time ago.
Realistically, that's probably
Yeah, I have a
the
theory
case.
that I think you'll grasp easily, and that is that when they put a bullet in Kennedy's head. Now, I know you probably weren't around in those days,
No.
but I was,
Right.
and that when they put a bullet in Kennedy's head, and that the same crowd that did that pretty well took over the power at that time and began to run things, and as far as I can see are still the crowd that's running things today, and that they called this a coup when you put a bullet in the head of the leader and then take over.
Right.
They call that a coup, and that we've been operating under a coup since the early 60s.
I can't go along with that analysis.
Okay, how about this? Let me ask you. Let me ask you this: do you have some college education?
I have a lot of college
And
education.
might I ask, in what field?
Well, you see, that's why I had a lot. I couldn't pick one. English, psychology, aerospace.
I was guessing psychology. That was I was see. This is exact. I wanted to ask
Were you
you.
going to say aerospace engineering?
Yeah,
The next thing you were going to say?
yeah, and paranormal studies.
Okay, but you didn't help design the electrical system in the space shuttle.
No.
Okay. Anyway, but in your expertise as in psychology and stuff like that, I was going to ask you if you would give an estimate. What would you estimate that our president's IQ was before he burned his brain out on cocaine?
Well, that's a very hard question to say. I would say, if I had to guess, and I'm not an expert. And
Double digits. Would you go double digits?
No.
No.
I mean, in order to be that socially successful, and to be in college at least, just being in college.
They say he's fun to party with.
Exactly, and stupid people aren't all that much fun. I mean, there's a certain level of stupidity where it's just they're bored to be around.
Yeah,
I would go
I
maybe
agree.
105 to 115, something like that.
I would
Maybe
say
110.
before he fried himself, he was probably hovering around average.
Little or slightly above.
Yeah,
105 to
back in the
115.
And even if that did decrease his IQ, that only means that decreased a relatively narrow way of measuring cognitive ability.
Right.
Hell, a lot of people do a lot of good work and don't have all that much cognitive ability as measured by that particular.
Right.
And many
test.
people have an extraordinary amount of cognitive ability as measured by the IQ test, but somehow cannot maintain a level of functionality anyway.
Yes.
Right.
And I'd just like to further comment that while I am not saying he is stupid, I am saying he is evil. Don't get me wrong there.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right.
I think our president is below average.
Now,
And ear size. At
Now,
least.
yes.
in ear size.
Yeah, those ears are not up to aesthetic standards.
No, and if you look, the royal family, on the other hand, is
Those are
head
some
and
impressive
shoulders.
ears.
Yes.
But the problem with your analysis, that things started going downhill after Kennedy got shot, is that it supposes that things were all that great before he got shot. And they weren't. The government has been doing very evil things since virtually its inception. In fact, before its official inception. We have a political history of skullduggery, broken promises, and general psychopathic behavior that is
Indian Wars.
Indian Wars, Whiskey Rebellion, Shays Rebellion, Tuskegee, World War I, for that matter, we have no business being in there, and that we were in there, that millions, well, I don't know millions, but hundreds of thousands of Americans died is an obscene tragedy that Woodrow Wilson should fry in hell for all time for. We weren't all that great before Kennedy. Maybe we got a little bit worse since Kennedy, but I don't think you can attribute that to any individual or group of individuals. And I'd just like to point out that the only reason that some countries aren't as bad as us is they don't have as many guns as we do. If they did, they probably would be.
Oh, they'd be worse, absolutely.
The only reason Canada does not have our human rights records is because Canada doesn't have our battleships. If they did, they would.
Well, yes, but they don't, and that would be that, and Canada wouldn't.
But Canada would. I mean, that's the thing. Canada isn't all that great, nor is any other country.
I know, but Canada just never mind. They're not prone to be building lots of battleships. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's not like
because
high on their agenda.
Because they can't. They don't. They didn't win.
They could.
They not really. Not the powered structure has been set up with them not really involved in it, but it could have gone the other way.
I don't know. There's just this image of your typical Canadian being a lot less psychotic than your typical American.
And would you?
Propaganda.
You know, I heard a rumor. See if you heard this. That there is actually that I want to say more oil in the ground in Canada than in Saudi Arabia.
That is, I believe that's true. However, a lot of it is not in.
It's hard to get to.
Well, it's not hard to get to. It's hard to refine.
Yeah,
a lot of it's oil sand sort of thing.
Exactly.
So once we get desperate enough, yes, we'll be going up there. But we're not quite there yet, and I'm not sure we will be. Have you heard of the anorganic theory of oil?
The inorganic or anorganic?
Inorganic, really.
I have heard that oil is in fact not
a product of the planet, that the planet makes oil regardless of organic.
Yes.
I have heard that mentioned. I do not believe that, however, and
I don't have the science to believe it one way or the other.
And I am open. I am open to things, and I don't believe that would be impossible, you know, but I see a very easily conceived, you know, and it you know, it makes
can very
sense.
easily be more science than the oil companies came up with.
A chain. I see a chain of events that makes perfect sense. And let me just take it to this. Okay, let's look at soybean oil, or if you make corn oil, okay, or any number of plants that we extract quite a bit of oil from.
Right.
You know, okay, that plants produce this oil. Or also, let's not forget to mention animals. You know, I'm talking about various life forms.
Right.
You know, are all good producers of oil. I see that these organic organisms create oils as part of their life function. And that we get oils often just by squeezing some of them, and whereas there's a lot of rocks you can squeeze, and the amount of oil you get from